Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brianna and this is For Paws in a Book. I make book and lifestyle related content, so if that's something that you're interested in, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. Today I have a book haul for you. So if you've watched my February wrap up, I did fantastic in reading my own books this month. I read 18 of my own books. Which is good. I read 28 books total, but some of them I'm hauling right now. So, not so good. I do have a book haul for you, and it's not very reasonable. Mostly because I got obsessed with an author's backlist and bought everything I could find on Pango. If you watched my last book haul, I will link it up above if you haven't, but I ended my month at 259 books that I own physically and have not read. So they're my own physical TBR. If we take 18 of those off, that means that we are at 241. And then I actually unhauled 4 books that I didn't read but have decided that I am not going to. So that puts our number back down to 237, which still seems really high. I really wish it would have been better, especially seeing these piles here. It's not the worst book haul I've ever had in the world, but it's not small either, so let's just talk about it. I have a few here that I've already read, so let's talk about those first. I found a hardcover copy of Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I have the paperback books of these, and I love the paperback books, but I also am now like displaying them here on my shelf, and so I want them all to match. So I'm gonna slowly switch out the paperbacks for hardcovers for the ones that I have. I have Blitzed by Alexa Martin. This was the last in the Playbook series that I didn't own. I have read the entire series. This one was actually my favorite of the quartet, I guess, but I didn't own it because I had read it originally as an ARC. So I'm got a physical copy of it. All of these books were bought on Pango. I sold a bunch of books over the past month. I did a big sale and I sold a bunch of books. So I had a bunch of Pango credit that I, was burning a hole in my pocket. I picked up A Read Between the Lines by Rachel Lacey. I actually ended up picking this up and reading it for Rom-Comathon. I will link my vlog up above there. This was pretty good. I gave it 3.5 or 4 stars. I can't remember actually. This is a sapphic hate to love, but also like a you've got mail trope. It was really interesting, and I think that the way that it was done was really smart, and I'll definitely read more in the series. The second book in this series is Friends to Lovers with I think like an only one bed trope, so that one has me intrigued. Okay, and then I found Hooked by Emily McIntyre on the BOGO table at Barnes & Noble. This one and also Scarred, which is going to be in the next pile because I haven't read that one. I read this on ebook, I think on Kindle Unlimited. They used to be on Kindle Unlimited, and really liked it. And there's 4 in the series now, and they're gorgeous books. This is a Peter Pan smutty retelling. You add in like Peter Pan and then also dark like mafia romance. It definitely hits all of my buzzwords. If you liked Katie Robert and the Wicked Villain series, I think you might really like these as well. These actually have more plot than Katie Robert. So if you didn't like the Wicked Villains, but you like the idea of them, this actually might be a series for you. And then here is where the rabbit hole started. We were on Spritz during Rom-Comathon. We were getting a little bit romanced out, and we decided to pick up a horror because it had a romantic subplot to it. So Michelle and I read Voices in the Snow by Darcy Coates, and I loved it. This is one of the best books that I've read all year. This will likely be in my best books of the year, even though like it's February, so I don't know that I can really say that, but this was fantastic. And so then I decided to just like go down the rabbit trail. And if you don't know, Darcy Coates has a very large backlist. I messed up a little bit. This is book 1 in a quartet, and it ends on such a cliffhanger. I was so mad. Like, you can ask my husband. I wanted to throw this book across the room when I finished it because it didn't end well. It ended on such a cliffhanger. So because of that, I picked up the other 3 books. Because of course I did. Like, who wouldn't? There was somebody on Pango doing like a bulk sale for like all 3 of them. So like, of course I picked them up. They're not in the most fantastic condition. Like, this one's a little bit bent on the spine, which is a little bit upsetting, but it's okay. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I did this and also this. And there are more in my Pango cart that I'm just waiting for money to come in. So it's fine. I'm fine. We're fine. These ones I have not read yet. I'm reading this one, as you can see. I'm about 50 pages into this. So this will be our start of our count. So we will start at 241 books. I also got Winterland by Ray Meadows. I actually saw this on a Book of the Month predictions blog. I follow a couple of blogs that will like predict Book of the Month, and this one sounded really interesting, and then it wasn't a Book of the Month. But I was like, okay, well, I'm still gonna buy it, still gonna look it up. And this is about gymnasts in the USSR. And if you don't know, the gymnastics scene in the USSR and Russia was very dark at this time, very much like you were a product or a property of the country. You did not belong to yourself. Like, they were like put up in schools, and like they never saw their families. It's really dark. And so this sounded twisted because it just kind of goes through that in a fictionalized sense. Then we have Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister, or Gillian McAllister, and this is a like sci-fi horror that kind of plays with time, and it is about a woman who witnesses her son's murder and then like is able to go back in time somehow and change it, fix it. I'm not really sure. But I've heard a lot of people talking about this, and the cover was really fantastic. And I've fallen prey to one person talks about it, and so then I buy it. I picked up The Dating Playbook by Farrah Rashan. This was one that I was thinking about reading for Rom-Comathon and then didn't get to it. This is about some sort of athlete. I'm not sure if he's a football player or something, but he needed a personal trainer, and he doesn't want the media to know that he has a personal trainer, so she instead like becomes his fake girlfriend. Sounds like a lot of fun. Fake dating is like top tier. Love it so much. So it will be read at some point. Definitely by Rom-Comathon summertime. Then I picked up Promise of Blood by Brian McClellan. This is a subgenre of fantasy that I've never read before, but I'm really interested in. I think it's called like Flintlock fantasy, but essentially like they have guns. But Django Wexler also has a series that is in the same like time period, not same world obviously, but same time period. So if I like this, we'll see. But this is Cassidy's backlist book club pick, and I've yet to be able to join her in this. So this will probably be read in April, probably. Because Realmathon. The excerpt on this front, it just says, "The Age of Kings is dead and I have killed it." And that sounds really fascinating. There's like very little on the back of this book. It's literally just other blurbs. It's a bloody business overthrowing a king. But amid the chaos, a whispered rumor is spreading. A rumor of a broken promise, omens of death, and the gods returning to walk the earth. And then, like I said, I picked up Scarred, which is a Lion King retelling, but smutty. But with people, not lions. Which actually just tells me that it's a Hamlet retelling, because Lion King is a Hamlet retelling. So, yeah. But then also Mafia romance. So, we love that. Next up, a book that I got from the publisher, so thank you so much to Algonquin Press for sending me this. This is Forager, Field Notes for Surviving a Family Cult. It's a memoir by Michelle Dowd, and cult stories are one of my favorite subgenres, which I know sounds really weird, and I should probably talk to my therapist about that. But this is about a girl who grew up in a Southern California cult, essentially, and like how she survived it, how she got out of it, and it sounds really good. And the thing is I think that because this is a book that's like an actual, like a real story, which I feel like I'm gonna like even more than fiction, because a lot of times the fictional cult stories like go off in weird directions and I end up like not liking them as much. But the nonfiction, like memoirs that I've read from people that have escaped cults, I've really, really liked. Just because I feel like they give you such a real like look at like the inside of something like that and the psychology of it. So this is an arc. It actually comes out on the 7th. So as you're seeing this, I think it's already come out, or it's coming out today, something like that. I have not read it yet, but I'm really excited to. I found a really cute graphic novel called Crumbs by Diane Sterling. This is like a really witchy, like very cute graphic novel. It's probably not one that I will read anytime soon, but start of spooky season, like this is a September book. Before you like go into the horror, you get the cute witchy stuff. So that's probably when I will read this. Okay, and then I also found Over the Woodward Wall by A. Deborah Beggar. This is actually a novella that is inside of Middle Game. Well, not like inside of it, but like it's referenced in Middle Game. So it's written by Shauna McGuire. A. Deborah Baker. He's like the character inside Middle Game, I think. I'm reading Middle Game this month, so then I'm thinking I'll probably read this one right after it. It's a Tor title, or a Tor.com title, so I'll be able to read it during Tor.com-a-thon and like hopefully knock off some bingos for that. I don't know much about this. I think it's a middle grade story, but other than that, I don't know. But I don't really want to know because I haven't read Middle Game yet. Okay, and then lastly, we have our Book of the Month books. I got 3 in February. Probably shouldn't have, but I did. The first one I got was Severance by Ling Ma. This is a book that Books and Lala read a couple of months ago, and it seemed really interesting. It was about a pandemic, and like the end, it becomes like post-apocalyptic, but from the like lens of millennials and like working in an office, like through a pandemic and through the end of the world. So that sounded really fascinating, because like I've talked about before in my like post-apocalyptic stories, I really like to see how it works with the like the smaller characters and like what it means on a day-to-day life. So I'm hoping that I get it from that. And then speaking of Kayla or Books and Lala, I picked up The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz, and this is the Literally Dead book club pick for March, and I am excited to pick this one up. I have a video project for this one, but this is about a group of writers that go to a snowy location, like a cabin or whatever, secluded, and then people start dying. That's all I know about this book, but we'll see what happens. And then I picked up a fantasy, which is much smaller than I thought it was going to be, but that was The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi, and this is a like gothic fantasy. This one is definitely one that I'll probably be reading during Realm-a-thon, especially because it is so short. But I've heard really good things about it. The synopsis doesn't give you a ton, but it's a sumptuous gothic-infused story about a marriage that is unraveled by dark secrets, a friendship cursed to end in tragedy, and the danger of believing in fairy tales. The breathtaking adult debut from best-selling author Roshani Chokshi. I haven't read any of her YA stuff, but I'm really hoping I like this, and like I said, I've heard some really good things about it. Alright, so we ended back up at 252 books, so we're still doing okay. It's only because February was such a good reading month and I read so many books off of my physical TBR, so I'm definitely going to have to do a little bit better in March about not buying books. We'll see what happens. I am going to do another unhaul probably later on in March. We'll probably make those quarterly, so that'll also give us some time to pull some stuff off the shelf that maybe I don't want to read anymore. But with that said, let me know if you have any thoughts about any of these books, which ones I should pick up, which ones I should prioritize, and I'll talk to you down in the comments below. If you're new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little red button that you can do so down below the video. If you'd like to hang out with me more, the links to my Instagram, Goodreads, Twitter, and my Patreon are linked in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.